Okay. How's it going, everybody? We're back Thursday night. Who's your main podcast? I'm Anthony, and my co-host.
I'm Jared.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm the co-host.
Yeah, he's also here.
I'm the background.
We've literally been sitting here talking for like an hour.
Yeah.
Just getting ready to start recording. We're locked in, folks.
Yeah, we wanted to talk to you guys about fishing games, but as I started to research the topic, I realized that it was way broader than even what I was ready to talk about. And all I could think about was Legend of the River King. There's this fucking Game Boy game, you know. That's where I was coming from. Really be like, yeah, fishing games are super good. What? We're not going to talk about that right now. There's some more stuff I want to talk about. I've been talking about some of my friends about the fishing games that they remember playing as a kid, but we have been backlogging. How many you been backlogging? What have you been backlogging?
Oh yeah, we've been getting after it. Let's start right here. We've still been playing Dead Island 2, kind of with our friend group. That game has been surprisingly fun, and kind of brought back my love of zombie games, and I think kind of our collective love of. I mean, can you call it a looter shooter? I guess kind of.
Yeah,
a looter smacker.
It's a looter shooter
for you guys.
It's got both.
Yeah.
It's got everything.
Yeah, it's just been really fun.
I mean, even the fantasy is there. It's got it. It's got futuristic kind of fantasy going on. It's got like, if you go silly boy like me and you're just like, this is my axe, it's enchanted, and are you feeling okay? I don't feel good. Been eating these guts, boss. Don't do that.
Don't. I don't remember if we like fully went in depth on the whole split of Dead Island and Dying Light in the last podcast.
No, I don't think so.
I think the difference between, Dying Light is all about the parkour. All of your moves are movement abilities and ways to manipulate the environment and stuff like that. Dead Island 2 is like, no, we're going to give you a drop kick. Go nuts. There you go. There's your mobility. Drop kick the enemy and just launch them.
Oh my god, that's all we're doing. I feel like half the time. Yeah. It's like when we were playing fucking Shredder's Revenge and you and I were just uppercutting. I like drop kick until I'm out of stamina. I'm like, oh, I can't do it anymore. Yeah. I guess I'm gonna have to hit him with this big hammer I have. I'm noticing a trend with me is big hammers. What's up with
big
that?
Hammer bonk.
I just like turn like the one brain cell in my head starts vibrating. If I got hit in the head, it might zip out of my head and I'll have nothing in there then.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you're using katanas and doing bleed damage.
I'm back to being in high school, little young weeaboo Jared, I'm a ninja, I swear to God. No, you're not. Silly.
Keep it up and we're going to record a science video about earthquakes and platonic plates and all of that stuff.
Oh my god, I wish I fucking wish that video.
Tectonic plates, that's what it was.
Do you have that video?
No, I wish I did.
Oh my god, folks, Anthony and I went to the same high school, okay? And we ran in similar groups and we had to shoot a video for a science class, and instead we made a ninja video describing. I wish I knew where that fucking tape was.
Not just a ninja video. It was a ninja, like, coming of age video where like you trained me up so that I could beat the other like types of earthquakes. It was awesome.
It was educational action, okay?
Quote unquote.
Folks, think cells at work. And if you don't know what that is, type that into the Google. Yeah. Cells at work.
Yeah.
It was like that. We anthropomorphized. Is that the right word? The fucking P waves and stuff of earthquakes. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, she got me off topic.
Oops.
Dead Island 2. We had been playing that. We've talked about that, I think, a couple times, like you said. And then there's the whole split in the two, Dying Light and Dead Island 2, which... And you also said that it's kind of revitalized your zombie thing. It kind of revitalized it in me a little bit. I'd kind of like moved so far away from zombies because they just freak me the fuck out. It's kind of like how people get scared of spiders. Like I hear the zombie make that noise and I'm like, like shudder. It's just a zombie. Just hit it. It dies. It's scary.
Yeah.
Vampire, no scare me. Skeleton man, no scare me. Zombie,
Don't touch me.
Something in there. Something about that. I don't know. But yeah, it's like kind of taking us all three back to when we were younger and when that stuff was really popular, especially like when we played Resident Evil games, like the original games, 1, 2, 3. And you can even we'll keep 4 in there, even though it's an action game.
Yeah.
It didn't scare me as much. I was able to play that game. It was a good game.
I think the way
I'm not trying to
that
knock it.
you can tell if a zombie game is a good zombie game, and I think Resident Evil falls into this category, 1, 2, and 3, not 4, like you said, which is one zombie by themselves shouldn't be scary. That should almost be a joke. That should be like a training dummy for all intents and purposes. 2 zombies show up. It's like, okay, hang on. We need to be smart. We need to, single them out one-on-one, and then we can take them down. 3 or more zombies, that is a wave. We need to get out of there. This is beyond the scope of what one person can fight because you're either going to get tired, you're going to use way too many resources. It's just not worth. That to me is the ideal zombie game where you're almost picking your fights to a certain extent. Even when we're playing as a group, we split up and we force the zombies to split up. There's never a point where we're just like, come on, boys, let's link shoulders and we're gonna do this, Civil War style and fire down the line. No, we don't do that. We immediately all 3 went into our little trilogy of how we like to fight. I am in the back. I have my ranged weapons. I have my, kind of survey of the battlefield, pick my spots. You kind of do your flying drop kick, protect the Lemon, and then Lemon just runs around and bashes everybody's head in. It's perfect.
The other thing that we've been doing you said we split up. We'd never done that in any group game, but like we needed like an item to do something and we were supposed to find it in the environment. And instead of, like you said, rolling around like a single group, we just all 3 split up and we're looking for the thing. And then somebody would be like, I'm in trouble. We're coming. Just turn around and just run towards their fucking arrow. Like, oh, I'm coming. And then we both just drop kick in. That has been an absolute treat of a game to play in a group. Like, I'm just like, oh my God, that's enjoyable. That's not even a backlog game for us. We got that on Steam, or no, Epic has like one of those free games, and we all got it. And Lemon was like, yo, you guys want to play that game? And we're like, I guess. Like, I don't. And I was like really apprehensive. No, I don't know. It's kind of scary. Quit being a wuss, Jared. No, it won't.
Yeah, I'm definitely I think that might have been the first Epic game that they gave away, and I played like the day that, the week that we got it. Everything else has just been like, yeah, throw it on the pile. I'll get to it eventually. I'm sitting on like 250 free games from Epic. I'm like, please, just come play Fortnite. Nah. Keep giving me free games.
Not only the free games, but you're like sitting there and you're like, don't you want to play one of these free games that you have? No, I want to buy that game that came out 10 years ago.
Yeah,
that one.
Exactly.
And I will wait to buy it and not play these free games.
Well, speaking of playing games from 10 years ago, do you want to tell the folks at home our new addiction?
Oh, well. Yeah, well, let's ease them in with the just a little ease in here.
Okay.
Because first for me, it started with Dragon's Dogma. I had been playing that online version. There was a private server that like bubbled up, and one of our good friends, Lilith, he was like, hey, you guys want to play it? And of course, we're like Goblin Brain, and we're like, yes, of course. You suggested it. We're playing it. So we went over and played Dragon's Dogma, and it left me wanting. And I was like, I don't know what I want. And I don't remember which one of our friends was like talking about it. And I was like, you know what? I haven't played Dark Souls. And they're like, I didn't say that. And I was like, you're right. I should play it. They're like, I didn't tell you to do that. So I started playing Dark Souls. And then in our passing ship moments that we've had since you've started football season, I had mentioned it to you. and your response obviously is what you're going to tell them.
Yeah. Well, so I think for a very long time, you and I both were kind of the same mindset, which is those games almost had this stigma on them of we're not even going to touch them. We don't like losing. We don't like the kind of community backlash on those games of get good. You know, not only is it get good, but there is like active misinformation in the game of like, oh, new players come over here, and then you go over there and then you die. You know, I'm not a fan of that. I don't like that. And you had said that you had started playing, and you know, it was kind of one of those things where it's like, all right, well, if you're going to bash your head against the wall, I'll bash my head against the wall. And so I didn't have Dark Souls, so I picked up Demon Souls on PlayStation, and I'm completely addicted because you made the comment of it's not even necessarily, yes, the game is hard, but it's a Mega Man game. It's a 3D Mega Man game. You need to memorize the map, memorize the path to get to the boss, and then memorize the patterns of the boss. It's not about the enemy that you're fighting directly in front of you. It's about the you know, if the micro is fighting the guy in front of you, it's about the macro, the zoomed out view. This is what the world is trying to tell you about how to fight this encounter. Oh, I see. Okay. And that I'm completely addicted now. I'm all the way sucked in. I've made a magic caster with a scimitar, and it's insane. I'm completely addicted. Sort of like how you were saying, like, bonk is your only one brain cell. You know, the unga bunga, I'm going to smash them with big hammer. I'm the exact opposite, where I'm just like, is that a fucking spell you got there? Hey, let me just try that out.
Your brain is playing Pong, but like with the glow sticks.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, and mine's just like getting bashed off. One guy just bonk, and it bonks it. The brain cell goes, and yours is like dong, 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 and you're like, very good, magic ball go back and forth.
Yeah, yeah. Yours is the Don Fry UFC fighter who like locks up with the other guy, and they both just start punching each other in the face over and over and over again, and their face is just covered in welts. And then the bell rings, they go to the corner and they get a squirt of water and they come back out and they just start punching each other in the face. No blocks, no different attacks, no kicks, no grapples. We're just going to punch each other in the face. First one to go down loses.
That realization of in the Dark Souls game, the one that I'm playing is the first one. I have the Prepare to Die edition. Okay, folks, I bought it 10 years ago and haven't touched it because of the stigmas. And so I'm playing this archaic version of it. Because the remaster's out, you can play that one. It's probably better. I don't know. And that realization, the stat called poise and heavy armor. And I already was drawn to the biggest club I could find. I'm calling this one the Widowmaker because it's just like a fucking fallen tree is the weapon. And I'm just like, it's beautiful. It's like, it just looks like a log. It's not like a really nice, delicately designed sword. It's this fucking log. And I'm like, oh, beautiful. And I found that poise thing, you know. And my friend was like, you should put on the heavier armor, I think. And I was like, okay. And then it was like that. Then it was like, I'm swinging. The boss is swinging. Neither of us are stopping. Someone's going to die. Someone is.
Yeah.
I don't care who. And it's just a joy. Yeah. Like I've never been mad. I'm like, I don't understand. But it's exactly, you know, and I made that Mega Man comment. And all I could think of was playing through 1 through fucking 8. Okay, I haven't played 9 and 10. Roast me or whatever. And I want to, of course. But of how much fun I had playing all those games, I can still remember, like, struggling against Wily in the end of Mega Man 2. Just being like, this is the hardest thing I've ever done. And, like, that fucking memory zapped all the way to me playing the first boss in Dark Souls. It's the Tauros demon.
Oh yeah.
And like you run this gauntlet of enemies, and it's like a path you have to memorize, you know, and then you get there and the boss room opens and seals just like a Mega Man boss. And I was like, wait a minute, I could literally run past all these guys and enter the door, and none of those guys will be able to get in. And then it's just me and the boss, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, that just changed it for me. And I was like, oh my fucking God, Capcom, what the fuck was Dragon's Dogma? What the fuck was that? Where's my 3D Mega Man Souls like?
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm ready. Make that.
And it's exactly like you said, you know, you need to find the one that is your jam, that's your style. I had originally played Bloodborne back in the day on PlayStation 4. That was kind of my first introduction into the Souls series, and it is not for me. That's not my aesthetic. The combat style is way too parry dependent and kind of focused on being in tight and in close and, you know, dodge rolling and parrying and getting your strikes in when you can. That's not how I like to play the game. I like playing Demon Souls. You know, you were talking about like seeing that Widowmaker tree falling down, and that's kind of the shining light, you know. And it's like, you know, I'm looking at that being like, you don't have my brand. I have a special brand. And then it's just like a box with a cowl in it, and I'm like, my brand. And I just don the thieves outfit and immediately grab the wand, and I'm like, I'm back, baby. I can play this game forever.
Yeah. If it had necromancy, you'd be fucking cooked.
That'd be it.
You'd have been fucking cooked, bro. But that's the other thing that I really liked about playing the Dark Souls, and that I see that you're having a similar experience with Demon Souls, is that it doesn't seem to have that that old ivory tower bullshit of this is how you have to play. You're fucking cooked if you don't do it this way. Like, let me use my goddamn health bar as a fucking resource, okay? Maybe I don't care if they hit me. I don't give a fuck. Like, and I don't care if that makes it easy or whatever. I'm not going to fucking dodge. I'm not going to fucking block. I don't want to.
If it doesn't,
you can't make me.
If it doesn't kill me and it kills the enemy, that is a good strategy. You know what I mean? Like if we both shoot our laser beams at each other and mine kills you and yours doesn't kill me, I won. Well, you have to use a health, you know, a potion. I don't know what it is in Dark Souls and Demon Souls. You have to use the moon grass, but it's like, okay, well then I'll use the consumable. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to perfect the game. I'm not trying to run through the game without being hit. I'm trying to win, whatever that means. You know, like you said, if necromancy was an option and I could sacrifice so one of the key mechanics in Demon Souls is if you're in human form, you have your full health bar, but then if you die, you immediately get reverted to your spirit form. You only get half health, and you don't get that health back until you defeat that world's boss. Good. Go ahead. You can have half my life. I don't care. What I care about is beating the boss, you know? So to me, go ahead. Take 3/4 of it. Take 9/10 of it. That's yours. As long as I win, that doesn't matter.
I think that it's really cool that it's, you know, it's kind of old school where it's just like, here's the difficulty. It's the game. Pressing start is the difficulty selection. You either play it or you don't. And sometimes I don't like that. I like modern gaming stuff where they have like the story mode, explore mode, historian mode, whatever you want to call it. And I like that. I like that option, choose your difficulty. But I think it kind of is already baked in a little bit where you can choose different modes of play and get that experience you're looking for. You don't have to play at this top end. You don't have to be the perfect dodge, the perfect blocker, and take no damage. Like, it's a fucking health bar. Use it. Drink your potions. Drink them all. Put that moongrass under your nose and smell it like a Steam Deck case, you know?
Exactly.
A fan blowing into your nose. I'm getting fixed.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. You know, I'm sure I've talked about this before, but I'm a big fan of, you know, very difficult achievement hunting and trying to get those achievements that only 0.1% of people have ever gotten or anything like that. I really believe that in order to experience sweet, you have to experience sour. You know, if you try something hard and then you overcome that, beating something and, you know, feeling good about that feels even better because now I knew what it was like to suffer and toil through and overcome that. But I think there's a point to be made in that, which is it has to be fair, right? It has to be an even match. If I'm playing the game and I hit an enemy and that stun locks it for a bit. I'm like, okay, cool. I can use that as a tool. And then I go to do it on the next enemy, and they don't get stun locked, and then I die. That's not fair. You're cheating me because the game isn't working as intended or as advertised. And I don't like it when the game wastes your time either. Don't make me do things that are. And the example that I used when we were talking before we started recording, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I was so excited to play that game. I thought that game was going to be so fun. Assassin's Creed with Vikings, great, sign me up. Well, this one's a little bit harder, great, sign me up. I don't mind that at all. But if the enemies are going to be just damage sponges, and in order to find the enemy, you have to trek halfway across the map, and the map doesn't even work half of the time, well, you're wasting my time. I'm not having fun. It's not hard because the game is hard. It's hard because the game is making you waste time to do the thing that you should be doing. Instead of it taking 10 minutes, it takes an hour. And from my experience, Demon Souls has not been the case of that. It has been very straightforward. I'm going to beat your ass unless you beat mine. And I welcome the challenge. I'll take the boon. I always say that.
I'll take the boon and fucking respect my time.
Yep.
Gosh darn it. If a game is disrespecting my time like that infuriates me. There were so many times in Dragon's Dogma where it was just like fucking disrespecting my time. And I'm like, bro, do not. I will put a mod on here.
Exactly. And I think a lot of the criticisms that I had before still hold true. A lot of the dialogue is almost unintuitive. It's like, oh, we're speaking in this old English voice, and this guy's really creepy. Don't you want to kill him? And it's like, no, I'm not going to kill the NPC, but he's got a creepy voice. Whatever, fine. The environmental storytelling has been outstanding as advertised. It's been incredible. The thing that it reminded me kind of is Shadow of Colossus, where you point me in the right direction, I'll go kill the big monster. I don't need you to paint me a story. I don't need a Legend of Zelda style story to go fight a boss. Like you said, just respect my time. If that's what it's going to be, okay, fine. I can live with that. And if you want me to read, all of the little pieces of dialogue and all of the stuff through collectibles in the environment, I'm fine with that. I have no problem with that. I've been playing games like that for years. But what I don't want you to do is, like you said, send me on some piddly-wink quest that means nothing. And then it's like, you fool, I tricked you. And it's like, no, I was just doing what the quest marker told me to do. Like, come on, game, let me do the thing. I can't stand that.
It's a big turnoff. I don't know. And I like that you can kind of choose your difficulty there especially with these games. I see the callback, the line back to games like Dragon Quest and things like that, like traditional turn-based RPGs where they had environmental issues and things like that you had to deal with, like you're stepping in the poison, you gotta manage your inventory and heal yourself, or oh, you stumbled into the bad area, guess you're gonna die now. Like, but you can beat them, you can do it. It's gonna be hard, but or you can go the easy route and level up and get there, and you can even I've even had like I was having trouble with a boss, and I went and leveled up my equipment and leveled up myself, and then came back and I just stomped the boss, So it still has those elements that you find in what makes good games good, like Dragon Quest, and I know that those are kind of different genres, really, but I mean, it's still gaming, so it's there. But
absolutely,
yeah, it's just been a treat. These games have been a treat. I think it's funny that you're playing Demon Souls because that's like the first one,
yeah,
and then I'm playing Dark Souls, so we're getting like the whole experience between us. Of course, maybe we need to switch, and then we can really dive into the series. I don't know if I could ever get into the story. You were talking about the story and the NPCs being weird. They definitely remind me of like Ocarina of Time, or more specifically, Majora's Mask, where the NPCs were just weird, and I imagine that's how they would have sounded if they voiced.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You're fucking weird, bro. What are you doing in this fucking windmill? Whining your little dun 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 dun. That guy?
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking weird. Tingle, weird, fucking mask salesman. weird. Like,
Yep.
you could name a billion, and then the enemies in Ocarina and Majora's Mask were like that. And I see a lot of the visible like silhouette DNA that's there with like the sword and the shield, and then the two-handing stuff, and then the dodge rolling, like Legend of Zelda, Ocarina,
Yep.
all day, right?
Absolutely.
Am I wrong here?
Absolutely.
I don't know.
I think something else that I don't think this is like secret knowledge or anything like that, but in the old Pokemon games, you were essentially choosing your difficulty by what starter you picked. The first gym is going to be scaled the difficulty based on who you have. That's just, if there's a type weakness and I have the type advantage, I'm going to win. I think there's a lot of that in these games, which is why a lot of people say, oh, Magic is easy mode, Magic is cheating. Well, you're just pushing back when the game gets difficult. The beginning is going to be easier. A perfect example, the first boss, the Phalanx boss in Demon Souls, has a weakness to fire. And I'm a caster with a magical fireball as my starter weapon. That boss was a breeze. I could beat that, heck, without even trying, just because that's what my strength is. I can do fire damage. Now, when I got later to the prison, and it's close quarters combat, and I don't have ranged, and everything is so much more claustrophobic, I struggled to the point where you have to leave and say, oh, like you said, I'm not strong enough to do this at my current level. I either need to go to a different stage entirely and do that stage, or I need to just go grind for a little bit, level up, and come back. And now I'm strong enough that it doesn't matter if I get rushed by a couple dogs in the corridor. I can just one-shot them when they get close. There's a toolbox there where you can kind of choose, how do I want to solve this puzzle, as opposed to, I think kind of the misconception with these games is, well, I'm just going to bash my head against the wall until I win. No. That's not what this game is. It's a very cerebral game, but it shows you what the options are, and then kind of very quickly is just like, okay, that's it. That's the only help you're going to get. Good luck, buddy.
It's a good thing you said all that stuff, but I didn't hear any of it because you put me into Pokemon.
Yeah. Is that what you want to fight for the last 15 minutes?
I was like going searching through my house for my soapbox so I could stand on it.
You were building it with your mic muted.
Yeah. I agree with you though on Pokemon that your starter. You know what? Somebody was telling me some shit about Chikorita not being liked because of whatever. And I'm just sitting there like, no, people didn't like Chikorita because you got your ass kicked if you picked him. That's who I picked. I got my ass kicked all the way through Gold and Silver trying to make that thing viable, but that game was not built for a Leaf-type starter.
Exactly.
Like, fuck. That was so hard. That was like the hard mode. That's what I got. I got fucking hard mode Gold and Silvered. That's what happened to me. And I forget what the other things you said because of fucking Pokemon.
Because you immediately got locked in.
Now I really am lost because of that. That fucking sent me. But I see those like traditional elements though of the gap closers between action RPGs and traditional turn-based RPGs. Referencing Pokemon and referencing Dragon Quest and like thinking about grinding, like those games were so much, especially like old school Dragon Quest. That game was like, oh, you're not strong enough, go and grind some enemies for a while.
Yeah.
Like, and they're not just talking about for a little bit. It was like a lot of it. You had to go and just like kill guys for a while so you get enough gold, and then you would upgrade your equipment. I mean, we were just talking about that with these two games. Thinking about your battle strategies. Again, this game, like the crossovers are there, and you really see that with these two games. I'm just like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I just had never really looked at the Souls games in that light, and never really gave them a fair chance because I never played them. So now we've had some experience here, and I'm just like pretty happy about that for us. I mean, I think we're both genuinely having a good time, which I did not expect. I think even Lemon said when we got in voice with him to play some Dead Island 2. He was like, I'm surprised that you guys were playing that. We are
Yeah.
too, man. Actually, we're having a good time.
Very surprised.
And guess what he did? He fucking downloaded Demon Souls.
I can definitely see why he would not like that style of game. I mean, for all intents and purposes, if you think about what it is that we're playing an action version of Baldur's Gate where we don't have the knowledge of what's ahead. You know, we don't have the kind of background of D&D and that sort of world to lean on. And so everything's new and fresh, and it's cool, and it's weird, and it's mysterious, and it's hard, and it's fun. And there's that moment of triumph when you beat a boss, or even heck, I don't know if Dark Souls has these, but there's kind of these like mid bosses where you'll just be mowing through the base enemy, and then all of a sudden one of these blue-eyed enemies shows up, or a red-eyed enemy. God forbid if you face a red-eyed enemy. And it's like, hey, I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready for this. And they've got a brand new move set, or they force you to do something that maybe you're not comfortable with. And it's like, okay, I get it. The game is telling you can't just roll through the game with this one strategy. You kind of need to go slow and piecemeal and go, okay, I'm going to pick up this from this enemy, and I'm going to pick up this from this enemy. It really is Mega Man without them saying, like, you get this guy's power up. You get this guy's, weapon attack or whatever. You're learning from the base enemies how to fight that stage's boss, and it's like, oh wow, that's really cool. I like that. I'm using the enemy's abilities against them to win. That's my jam, man.
I love seeing that. You were talking about mini bosses. They do have mini bosses, and you're right. They do have them in Mega Man. I always think about Mega Man X as mini bosses and stuff, because some of them, and like you said, you don't really get anything extra for fighting the mini boss except through. And I don't see anything wrong with that, of course. But I think you kind of technically do get the boss's power. At least you do in Dark Souls, where you get their soul and you can either consume it for an ass load of currency, because that's what that is. The souls are currency to buy stuff. Or you can make the boss weapon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever their weapon was, you can make it with their soul. And I think that that's really cool. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, that's, again, a Mega Man, like, for me, that's what it is for me. I'm not saying that that's what it is definitively, but for me, I see that line and that difficulty. Like, Mega Man games were very difficult. Half the time, the stage was kind of the boss, and getting to the boss and beating it was like way easier than getting through the fucking stage.
Absolutely.
Like, oh my god, insta kill mechanics, fucking hidden spikes.
Yep.
Fucking enemies that are bullshit. They just are so strong, and you have to figure out either how to not get hit or to kill them so you can get past, or whatever. And all that sounds like I'm talking about Dark Souls if you've never played Mega Man. And if you've played Mega Man and Dark Souls, you're like, yeah, I see that. At least for me. And I'm like, okay, I'm in. I'm ready. I'm ready for a Mega Man Dark Souls game. Like, fucking let me pick, like, if I got a Buster Arm or a sword.
Okay, all right.
You know what I'm saying?
Calm down.
You know what I'm saying?
Calm down.
You get the power.
Yeah.
You can do the power.
I'm ready.
Let's be sick.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I love that. And it's, this goes even back further than that. I think this is like old school D&D stuff where they will just be a long hallway, and at the end of it is a chest. And I'm like, nah. This is a trap. This is a trick. I've played D&D before. What are you doing, DM? And then, of course, there's the enemy standing like on the other side of the door with his weapon raised, just like, come on. I want you to do it. I want you to open the chest, or God forbid the chest is a mimic and you're just like, scares the crap out of you. But I love that stuff. That is the stuff that makes adventure games fun. You can't trust the world. You can't trust the environment. You can't trust your rewards for beating things. I love that. I think that's awesome.
Question everything. Sue was watching me play Dark Souls 1. yesterday, today, I don't remember. And every chest I come to, I fucking hit it.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I don't trust any chest. I've been a fucking GM
Yeah.
for tabletop RPGs for 20 fucking years. I don't trust chests, especially in this fucking game." And dude, there's something so funny about hitting a chest and then it just fucking stands up taller than you.
Oh.
And it's like, "Hello?" And you're like, "Oh shit." There's a mimic. Run!
The brainworm that's in my head is the Pirates of the Caribbean thing where it's like, "You cheated," and he's like, "Pirate," it's like, why are you hitting that chest, GM? Like, I know your tricks.
I get immunity. Yeah, I would have done. I would put it. And then I also do that dumb thing where, because it's a fucking Souls game and there's like hidden walls, like fucking Doom or some shit. And I'll be like, if I was a fucking GM, I'd put a secret wall right here. Or right here. Like, it's none of them.
I've done this so many times where you'll be running along and then you just like slam on the brakes and then it's like a slow camera turn to like the left corridor that, it's like, "Don't come down here." And it's like, "I bet there's treasure down there." You. Okay, all right. I'll check it out.
I love the traps though. And the fucking like little shit enemies with their like broken ass swords, like trying to pull a fucking fast one on you. I think it's so funny. So I'm like exploring this area today in this painting, right? And I'm coming around the corner and I see two guys hanging from the ledge. Like they're waiting for me to go to that ledge so they can jump up. And I'm like, "Look at this couple of guys hanging out. Just some bros. Hey. He's gonna be here any minute."
Yeah.
I know. Then we'll get him. Like, oh my god, bro!
It really does feel like not even like Saturday morning cartoon villain, but like that's what a low-level demon would be. You know what I mean? It's like that's your big scheme to kill somebody and take their soul. Is like, I'm gonna hang on this ledge, and when they come by, I'm gonna grab them by their ankle and throw them off. It's like, yeah, that's what a low-level demon would think is a great idea. But then you get like the big master boss guy, and he's like, "You idiot, you didn't think about my ability to coat the entire thing in acid." It's like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense why he's the boss.
Yeah, and some of those bosses throwing up on you, I'm like, you better fucking stop it. Don't do that. There's some nasty stuff going on. There's some like trigger warning.
Yeah, body horror
shit going on. Like,
absolutely.
Oh my god. You come around the corner and the camera just pans up the boss and you're like, what the fuck?
I know there was a game.
Do not.
I want to say it was called Mortal Shell, maybe, or something like that, where they tried to do that. It was kind of like a Dark Souls game, but set in like the Christian hell. And yeah, it was not a good game. I would not recommend it. I think I got it on Steam for like $1.50 or something like that on a Steam sale. But like, that's the perfect setting for that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Dante's Inferno is an incredible game. I highly recommend that. That's a PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 era game where you go through the different stages of hell, and the enemies are based off of that. Dante's Inferno is an old, what do you call it, tale, I guess, of a poet who dies, and then he gets escorted through the stages of hell, and each one is a different cardinal sin, and all of the enemies are based on that cardinal sin. So if you go through Wrath, all of the enemies are just these rampaging barbarians who just swing really wildly. But then, like, if you go through Lust, they're what's a politically correct way of saying this? They're sexual deviants, and they try to lure you in and stuff like that. Like, that setting is perfect for that. Kind of that otherworldly body horror image of, that kind of creeps you out a little bit. It kind of puts you on your back foot just because of what the enemies look like. But then you push forward because it's like, well, if I win, now I get their weapon or I get their ability or whatever. I love that. I think that's an awesome way of adding kind of that creepy factor without just, straight up jump scares or anything.
Dante's Inferno. It is a poem. That's what you said,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
It's a poem. Narrative poem. Yeah. We've got some experience with that. Very good poem, of course, if you've never read it. But also, I've never played that game, but it's been on backlogs, folks. Mine's probably will never get done while I'm alive.
I hate spoiling endings to games, but I think this one is worth kind of like giving you the ending up front and then you play through the game because it's objectively hilarious. You play through the entire game as a crusader named Dante, and your bride to be kind of gets dragged to hell because Dante dies, and he made a promise, kind of like a soul pact that he would remain faithful, and he dies, and he goes after his beloved through hell to save her soul, to bring her back. And each stage of hell that he goes through, you're constantly being attacked by Satan, and he's like, "You did this, Dante. You're the one that put her through this. You know, you being a crusader, all of these evil things that you did in the name of, you know, God's army, that doesn't excuse you from sin. You did these evil things just because you did them in God's name. That doesn't mean that you're absolved of sin." And he's like, "No, you know, we were doing it because it was the right thing to do," and all this stuff. And you get to the very end of the game, and it's like, okay, I'm going to beat Satan and get my wife's soul back, and we're both going to go to heaven, and it's going to be okay. And they're like, "Dante, you literally slept with another girl while you were on the crusade." And he was like, "Yeah, so?" And it was like, what the fuck, man? The whole point of this
Treachery.
it was like, the whole point of this was that you and her would be virgins when you got married, and it would, you know, you would consummate your marriage. You know, it's like we're gonna sleep together now. We'll get married when I get back, but it doesn't count as, you know, sleeping together outside of wedlock, because I promise you when I come back, we're gonna get married and I'm gonna stay faithful. And it was like he went on the crusade and just slept with a whole bunch of people, and it gets revealed at the very end of the game. It was like, Dante, what the like. I was literally like teasing you before, but like, are you serious, dude? You slept with another girl, man. He's like, what? Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
Like objectively a hilarious ending to a game where you fight through the army of hell and win. And then it's like, dude, you can't take her soul, man.
We got him.
We got him, boys.
That's what they said. Yeah. Tricked you.
Incredible. Amazing game.
Well, I'm sure we could sit here and continue down this rabbit hole until we reach the 10th layer of hell, but I think we're right about at time.
Perfect. Yeah, that was you know, we're kind of in the off-season mode and football's ramping up, so I don't really have time for games anymore, but I'm right there with you. I think between Dead Island and Demon Souls, I'm all the way addicted again.
I think that this is the funniest arc we've been on for us personally. Playing fucking Souls games. What timeline is this?
Yeah, that's how desperate we are for RPGs.
Yeah, hurry. All right, folks. Well, we hope that you're having a good summer vacation. If you're still on it, whilst we trudge through our backlogs and exist in our off season. Anything to tell the folks at home?
Yeah. See ya.